That's interesting.
It's the first time that's ever happened.
What's that?
I just hit record, so I didn't forget. All of a sudden it says this meeting is being recorded. So watch what you say, guys. Boyd.
Not only that, it only gives you two choices, Gary. Either click the continue button or leave meeting.
Really?
Yep.
That may be just for the participants like yourselves. I think the host has more choices. I could be wrong.
Morning, Eric.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Good. I'm glad
Wish
to.
I was there.
You sound like you're not feeling any the worse for wear. Glad to hear that.
Well, I have some special needs for a month or so, but I'm getting there.
Good deal.
John Jackson.
John wanted, he asked me, but if you're taking notes, he wanted specifically to know when a motion, the second was made and what the vote count was. So who made the motion in the second?
I think the whole much to vote on today, so it's going to be a pretty short note taking exercise. All right. I think we can go ahead and call the meeting to order then. Go to. Well, welcome all this massive crowd that we have in the room. Glad we have an in-person meeting. Glad to see some people in. So I'm going to, as I said, call this to order. I'll go ahead and Ron is not going to be on the call today, just so everyone is aware. Ron has asked to give up his secretary duties. So I think what we'll do before I even start the meeting, in the interest of having somebody taking notes, John Niebling has volunteered to step in as secretary. And we've indicated that we'd like him to do so. He may be joining later. He was going to be driving to California later today. But, with Ron stepping down as secretary, we need a motion to go ahead and put John Niebling in the secretary position. Eric, I think you were going to make that motion, is that correct? Eric, you there?
Yep. Okay. Yes, I would like to make a motion if that's okay. And I've sent this to Rick already, but I move that we appoint John Niebling as board secretary effective immediately through the conclusion of the annual owners meeting or until such date as the board elects another secretary.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Do I have a second? All right, any discussion around that? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Done deal. Yeah, so we, I've got
7-0.
it'd be 7-0 because I've got Ron's proxy, so obviously Ron is okay. For the record, Ron did send his proxy this morning, so I have his proxy if there are any votes. Okay, approval of minutes. Minutes were distributed by Ron previously. Well, first, I guess we have to establish a quorum. I will confirm that we do have a quorum. The only board member not in attendance is Ron Lennon, and as I said, I do have his proxy. So I will confirm that we have established a quorum, and then as far as the minutes go, since Ron's up here, the minutes were distributed. Are there any discussion points around the minutes? Seeing none.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes as Ron sent them out to everybody.
Second. 26 board meeting. Second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. All right. Okay, so again, welcome to today's board meeting. For those of you online, looks like we've got about a half a dozen or so online. you can hear us. This board meeting is probably going to be relatively quick today, just so everyone's aware. We are going to go through the financial report. There's not, we don't have any rules and regs or architectural review discussions today, so this will move. We will be breaking for executive session to go over a few things, and I suspect that'll happen relatively early this morning. So why don't we start with the financials?
Oh, you got president. Oh, are you done?
Don't have a whole lot to say.
All right. Gary, can you put the financial report up on the screen for those in the room and those online? I guess those in the room have copies. So. Okay, so we're looking at the balance sheet. A couple items of note. Accounts 103, 107, 108 represents our permanent reserves. We currently have $710,845 in our permanent reserves. Account 132, accounts receivable. This might look a little high, but it's effectively quite a bit lower than that. This financial report is as of April 30th. That coincidentally was the due date for second quarter dues from owners. And as is usually the case, there's a bit of a time lag in receiving those, getting them out of the PO box and receiving them. There's also a little anomaly. I know Scott and I got caught in this. If anybody has their ACH transfer, bank payment, bank online bill pay going to Taco for their HOA fees, and it's being sent to the old PO box. Do we still have that, or we?
No, there's a forward, but it's a good thing.
Yeah,
it's good for a year.
There was a forward, and I know of at least two, including mine, HOAs that you still don't have them, right?
Still in transit.
Still in transit because they were sent to the PO box. So if you do have that going on, you might want to change your. You do want to change the address for Taco from the PO box to 314 North Tenderloin Drive.
We probably, you said you have a bunch that have been coming through the forward, so we
Yeah,
should get a reminder out to everyone.
And I've been in contact with most everybody. Boy, I sent it a long time ago, and then we discussed the address.
Yeah, mine was sent over a month ago.
It's just the post office.
Doing it forward. Anyway, so that number is considerably lower than that 192,000 there due to a combination of factors, mostly just time lags. Down there under fixed assets, this is, if you paid attention or took note in previous reports, we had several more line items under fixed assets. We've consolidated those. Accounts 150, units A through N, 110, 114, and 115 is all the common areas in the lodge, including the two rental units that we have, 110 and 114. 115 is basically, Tim, you're sitting in what was 115, and because it was combined with this room. So that's all our physical property assets combined into that one line. 158, equipment and leasehold improvements. That includes all of our furnishings, equipment, computers, and the three new Amaron vehicles that you see running around the property now. And then, of course, depreciation on those assets. Going down to the liabilities and equity, under long-term liabilities, there's account 260. That represents the notes we took out to buy the three vehicles. So that's covered there. And that's pretty much it for the balance sheet. Everything else is pretty normal. Moving on to the income statements. Top category is, Jerry, you're chopped off on the
I know.
left side of the wheel. Can you fix that? Under income, account 400 is the HOA fees, and they're right on track. You might wonder why they're right on track. If I said a lot of the HOAs for the second quarter were still coming in. That's an accrual basis, so it's logged as when it's billed, not when it's paid. Maintenance revenue looks good. Storage rental, pretty much everything there is pretty much right in line. Commercial space rental includes our real estate office and the hairdresser facility upstairs. Service and collection fees are low. We don't have that many delinquent owners, but actually very few, fewer than I've seen in a long time. Transfer fees are up because sales, there's a lot of units are changing hands. As you know, real estate activity has been pretty hot around here. That's pretty much it for the rest of the income.
How much of the new storage units are rented?
All of them.
All of them? All the new, everything that we just put out is rented again as well? Okay.
Even all those upstairs units, they're all full. Maybe find room for more, huh?
Don't give Tim any ideas. There'll be lockers in here.
We'll be done this afternoon.
It'll be done this afternoon.
Chain link fence in our boardroom.
Expenses, insurance, looks like it's a little high, but that's actually 5 months worth of insurance, so it's pretty much right on. It's just, that's ahead of the game a little bit. Let's see. Legal fees and consulting, that number looks low. We paid, on May 15th, we paid our bill for April, which brings the actual, the left-hand column and the center column pretty much right in line with each other. That's good. Down at the bottom, you'll see these are new accounts this year because we split out the staff salaries. Staff salaries being Lisa, Gary, and Tim, apart from the front desk and maintenance salaries. So we've got those under administrative expenses. So we've got the 590, 591, and 593 accounts there. Bottom line looks good on those, on the 500 accounts, on the 600 accounts, building maintenance. A lot of this, matter of fact, most of everything in these 600 accounts is seasonal, so they're going to look low because we tend to catch the spending up in the summer when the weather's good and we get out there and do the work. So 640 fire sprinklers and extinguishers. That usually hits all in the fall, and that's why you don't see any year-to-date budget on there yet, because we time that to coincide with when the expenses actually hit, when the inspections occur and so forth. Again, pretty much everything else on there is pretty seasonal. 652 is high because pay our annual IT contract up front, beginning of the year, so that's been paid. Personnel expenses, 600.1. This is all of our maintenance and landscaping staff, and it's under budget because we're understaffed. Tim is actively trying to get that staff up to budget, up to our current needs, and I think we got a new hire coming on in June, right? Utilities, water and sewer, 701 is the only one that really is out of whack here because as we reported on previously, we've been withholding a portion of our build-out water and sewer expenses due to negotiations with the water company, Elder Creek Water Company. It's a subsidiary of Glacier. And so those numbers are low. That 85, if we've so far held out $11,000 this year, so that would be up to around 96, 97,000, so close to the 115. And water usage, we're billed now as opposed to up until 2018, we were billed on a fixed rate, so it was pretty even spending throughout the year. Now, since 2019, the current, we're billed on a metered rate, so we're billed based on how much water we actually use. And in the wintertime, we obviously use a lot less water than we do in the summer when we have higher occupancy, and also we're irrigating, and that irrigating really accounts for a lot of the water we use in the summer. So that will catch up some. Will we hit budget this year? Depending on our negotiations with Glacier and how that turns out, we may be a bit under budget. Satellite TV, internet, telephone service, and refuse service are all right on budget. Electricity is a seasonal thing because we use a lot more electricity in the winter to heat this building, and that levels out throughout the summer and the rest of the into the fall. There's that memorandum at the bottom. This relates to the process we put in place this year, this last year when we budgeted for 2021, whereby we're taking all of our surpluses from the previous year and applying those directly to reserves for capital spending. And then there's that money does get, a lot of that money does get spent, but that helps to balance our budget. And so you see that memorandum there. And right now we're $65,507 ahead of the game. So we're in good shape. Capital. The income at the top, that's a portion of HOA dues that are allocated directly to this budget sheet. And again, just like in operations, these 800 accounts, 3/4 of them, if not outside of 2 or 3, they're all seasonal. So a lot of the spending, a lot of the projects don't get done until the summer season, which we're now in, and so a lot of those things are getting done. 803, renovate the maintenance office. This is mostly done, but I think is there still some work to do on that, Tim? Or
I got quite a bit. I've got carpet on the upper deck.
Oh yeah, putting in the walls, yeah. Right. For the conference room, you can put in there. Right. Okay. The 804, the build out of the new storage lockers that we talked about just a little bit ago, that's done. We came in under budget on that, so we're in good shape there. 809, remodel of the administrative office areas, that's done. No more work to be done there?
There may be some additional touch-up on ceiling work, but nothing
Okay.
major.
Okay. So that's pretty much under budget too. I think Tim's going to talk about a few things in his property report. Account 815, 816, 829. I believe all of those may need some board input on how to proceed. Yeah.
One note, lawn equipment, I am going to be at 4,000 instead of
Spending too much money.
3. Tried my best.
one thing that's out of whack here is account 830, unplanned capital expenses. As you may have heard, well, the board is aware, I'm sure, about the heat tape project under Gamble Oak and Pinecone buildings where Tim discovered that there was some deficiencies in fire protection and breakers and wiring and so forth. And so we're doing pretty much complete renovations of those, and it's.
Joe, did you want to pass that around the table?
What's that?
Did you want to pass this around the table?
This is why we had to do that work.
That's heat tape.
Those are burned heat tapes.
That's kind of scary.
Yeah, it is scary.
Little visual aid there.
Yeah. Okay, you're right. You were right.
These heat tapes are, by the way, they keep our exposed drain lines under Pinecone and Gamble Oak that are insulated, but they tend to freeze up if they're not kept warm. That's what those heat tapes accomplish. And that's pretty much it for the capital. It'll catch up. It's quite a bit ahead of the game there, but we'll spend a lot of that money. Permanent reserves. Account 441, we actually have 2 rental units that we own and a 3rd rental unit that we leased from an owner, and we're subletting it to an employee. Tim approached me on this, and it was a good deal. We basically got the rental of the lodge unit for $650 a month, and we're renting it for $8. Yeah, so. Good deal for us, and a good deal for the employee. The more employees we can have living here, and they don't have to traipse up and down the hill to get to work, especially in the winter time, is a good thing. Let's see. And that memorandum again ties back to the memorandum on the operations sheet where we moved the $220,000 from surpluses from last year into reserves, and then we'll be spending that. So that's covered right there. And then lastly,
But not least,
huh?
but not least.
But not least, service and security debts, absolutely. Fantastic. Your shop. Heather tells us that the projected rentals for the summer are going to be even greater than they were last summer, which was a big year. So we do expect the revenues in 406, 460, 472, and 406 and 460 to be a bit higher than budget, so we'll be good there. The only other item of note on this sheet is 592, the ski shuttle. Were you guys planning on discussing that with the board today?
Is that a topic for the board?
Well, the deal is, and this is a pretty simple thing, the deal is we budgeted $3,000 last year because EMR had put in place the limited, 1 shuttle a day, and they were limiting it to 15 passengers. So we were looking at, and at the time it was a pay-per-ride deal. So the numbers came out to about that $3,000 at a max. Subsequently and recently, DMR has come to a purgatory. Are they purgatory or DMR?
They're purgatory.
Purgatory has come to us with a new proposal for the ski shuttle. They want to do it on a annual fixed price per, not annual, per season fixed price. And they want to set that for the 21-22 season at $5,000, am I right? So that would obviously extend deeply into the 22 year, so not so much effect on 2021, except for the fact that we're already at 2640, and with the Christmas season, we'll probably blow open that 3,000.
Probably, I believe we can pay that in January.
Yeah,
So we won't go.
So we'll pay it, that's right, we do pay it in January, don't we? Yeah. Okay, so we're good for this year.
Service levels? I mean, what, they're gonna have more shuttle, obviously.
Well, here's the deal, they're gonna have
COVID, but-
one shuttle a day, 25 passengers, full load. They're not gonna limit the number of people they can.
Didn't we used to have two a day?
Well, and Tim, the last time we talked, and Tim can update us, he was gonna talk to her about peak seasons, Christmas, spring break, President's Weekend, and have them, if they would give us some assurances that if in those timeframes, they would add a bus, accommodate what we need, but not.
And that's these days, right, Tim?
Right, we met this week and we agreed to pay one lump sum January 2nd, but we need coverage on the peak days. So we're gonna have an additional shuttle included in the lump sum for 23 days.
So what is, it's President's Weekend and
Martin
okay?
Luther King.
Yeah,
I think what, I mean, and I don't take the shuttle, but I heard some people talk about it this past year, the whole, go up at 8 and come back at 4 makes for one hell of a long day, especially this year when nothing was open up on a mountain.
yeah, but young people can do that.
So my point is, I mean, having something maybe an 8 or a 10, and another one that goes up at 10 or 9 or something like that, and then comes back earlier than 4, especially during peak season.
I don't think
some sense.
I would guess that for the 5K, they're not gonna add a
They
second
see-
bus
they
every
see-
day.
They see our relationship as more as a liability.
Yeah.
And, yeah, they are busy moving people from parking lots and Cascade's 2 miles away.
So
They see
the,
this is a burdensome account for them.
so the
So
question
we shouldn't be
is,
pushing them, is what you're telling me.
so the question is, do we think this is an important enough amenity, probably more so for the rental program than anything else, to keep it? Or do we just say, thanks, but no thanks?
And I think
We did have many times where folks would not have been able to get up there. They came with the wrong kind of vehicle.
Yeah.
And it was full and with waiting lists, quite a few of those days at least. And then there was a lot of days where nobody rode.
Yeah, people, kids are going skiing, but mom and dad aren't, so how do the kids get there?
I think
I think
kinda
we should keep,
mandates
it's
keeping
not
it.
that much money and it's a good amenity to have, good incentive to help whoever wants to use it. That's it. Hold on.
Right.
Do we need a motion to accept that financial report or no?
Any questions about the financial report? Anybody questions online, anything like that? Just one person asking for financials to be emailed. Can certainly do that.
Okay.
Alyssa, is there a way that we can get our payments when you pay from your bank to go straight into the Tamarron's account rather than my bank having to mail?
If you go through Vintium, you can. And it's like a $3 fee to do an ACH.
Yeah, so you don't have any plans on,
Right, well, that was our plan to get that to make that work.
Any other comments, questions? All right. So moving on, we don't have any architectural review today, as I said. Right? Okay. No rules and regs, so those 2 items on the agenda are stricken. Water and sewer report. We are not a whole lot to report here. We are still in negotiations with Glacier. I will say we are, I think, getting closer to the finish line. We're going to meet today and discuss a proposal to go back to Glacier with. When left, we'll be able to submit something over to them for final discussions. The goal is to get the agreement with ECWC finalized, hopefully before the next board meeting. I was hoping to get it done today, but the water committee has been reviewing, notes internally, but just amongst the committee, and we haven't shared everything with the board. So we're going to do that today in executive session, go through kind of where we're at there, and likely submit as some additional comments over to Glacier and hopefully get this thing, hopefully get it over the finish line. So, as I said, we're getting closer. It's been a lot of back and forth with them, but hopefully we'll get that completed. So, any questions on water and sewer? Okay. Heather sent me her rental program report. So, as Joe alluded to, I think everybody, we probably need to remind everybody that this time last year we were shut down. We had no rental program. So we shut down, Gary, mid-March?
Yeah.
Mid-March.
We reopened in May, didn't
We
we?
reopened right around this
Yeah,
time
it
last
was-
year.
Yeah.
So,
It was about exactly 2 months.
So the fact that we are open this year means we already are ahead of where we were last year. We are sold out for Memorial Day, with the exception of one unit, which happens to be mine. So I don't know who I pissed off, but mine hasn't rented. We've never ever sold out Memorial Day weekend. Even with the the Iron Horse race that goes by here tomorrow, we've never historically sold out for Memorial Day. So Heather is very optimistic on what the season's going to look like. As everybody knows, we had the best season ever last year. It was very much an opportunistic kind of rental season. We had a lot of, we weren't expecting what we had last year. Heather is confident that we will do better this year than we did last year. So I don't know how we can be busier than last year, but Heather seems to think we will be. And last year was pretty crazy. So let's see. So far, booking for pace for summer 2021 is already ahead of schedule. She says it's far exceeding any of the years in the past. People are booking further in advance than they have historically. As I said, last year was more opportunistic rentals. But we've got a lot of advanced bookings this year. If we go back from May 2019 to May of this year, we're up 250% for rentals. So in the last 2 years, our rentals are up significantly. Continuing to see longer stays. So Heather said that she's seeing stays, bookings of 20 to 30 days in many cases. So we're seeing folks come up here for an extended period of time. Already have the same amount of revenue on the books for July of 2021 that we have for July 2020. So that's when we say we're getting advanced bookings. She's already got July booked, July 21 booked beyond what we did last year. So we're continuing to see that. August is a little more slow, but we're about 45% of where we were last year for 2021. So we're already seeing bookings into August. So still a lot of space to fill up for July and August, but it's well ahead of schedule. So she's anticipating a great year, which is good for us, good for the budget. Any questions about rental program? Okay. So we will move on to the property report. Gary?
I want to show the design that Dan Dixon put together for us for the monument sign in the island as you enter the lodge parking lot. I just wanted to get approval from the board to proceed with this design. Get it built, get it going.
So just to give everybody a little background, we kind of played with some ideas around the signage. The sign that's out there that's precariously leaning against a rock is the old sign that's been resurfaced a couple of times. It looks like a tombstone. Glacier had reached out to us and wanted some consistency with the signage with what they have. So we asked Ann to play with it. We toyed around with putting various logos and that kind of thing, but for base camp and others, but it really just kind of looked noisy and didn't look right. So we scaled it back. If you see the Glacier signs, it's really just a banner type situation for their signage. So we opted to go with that to kind of be in alignment with their look and feel. Really, the only thing we added was our logo to the top of it. This is just a mock-up, obviously, but that is what we're looking to do for the sign.
Without the arrows.
Without the arrows. Yeah, we don't really need the arrows.
Question, Tim. So the Tamarron, that oval plaque there, it extends above the stone.
Yes.
Is that, would it look better if the stone
Yeah,
was just a
I'd
little
like,
higher and it
yeah,
was
I'd like it
fully,
fully on the
so it's
stone.
fully on the stone instead of the plaque sticking up out the top?
Well,
It could potentially get damaged, bent, I don't know.
it turns into a pretty large sign if we do that. Maybe, I mean, we can ask Ann to take another look at it and say, hey, what would you do if we didn't want to have something protruding up above the top of the stone?
That's the only thing. I mean, I like the whole look of it. I like the fact that we have our logo there. Keep that in front of people.
I think the next picture down shows you what it would look like without the logo. It's pretty.
Yeah, this is what Glacier was hoping that we would do.
I know.
Yeah, having it with the logo on there looks better, and I'm same as Joe, I'd like it a little bit lower.
I like promoting our brand.
Then on the, where it says lodge, what could it maybe say, like lodge dash check-in or something, or for people that are coming in here? That don't know where they're going?
Honestly, I'd rather not have the word check-in on there. That implies hotel.
Yeah, got it.
And maybe we don't need the lodge sign. Maybe just move the logo down, take away the lodge, and leave Base Camp Sotheby's.
You know what, I
Can't
like
miss
that.
the
idea.
lodge.
Yeah, that's a good.
Yeah, obviously, it's a lodge.
I'll have to draw that up.
Yeah, I like
That'd
that
take
idea.
the space.
Okay. All right, second item on my list was I need some direction on security cameras. We had talked about, our original conversation started about getting some recorded footage in the parking lots. We talked about getting, and access for the ownership to take a look, hey, did it snow or are the flowers there or whatever. So the first proposal is for 2 cameras in each of 4 parking lots that would have web access to people with usernames or whatever. And it would provide for, I don't remember if it was 25 or 30 days of storage in case there was an event. We can go back and look at my footage. That costs $6,000-ish, $6,800. The second option was to put cameras, security cameras in the lodge at all points of entrance and at the elevator lobbies to capture whatever else is going on in this place. And I think that may have been a result of a sprinkler head break we had. So we went through a layout, figured out how to get it all wired. There's 15 cameras, and this whole proposal was like 14,000. The budget's only 15, so we can do one or the other.
Okay, we have 15 in the budget. 14 is for the
Lodge.
just the lodge interior.
It has cameras on the outside of each entry. Owner storage, and we have about no shop.
And that includes the DVR for recording too, right?
Yes. I think it's a month's worth of storage.
Who's that from, Tim, the proposal?
Access Audio, they're local, they got shops around 4 corners area. They're best game in town is what I've heard. They came out and worked hard and figured out how to get this thing wired. They did a good job.
Is there any benefit to doing them both at the same time? If we were to decide to do both, is there a benefit with that vendor just knocking them both out at the same time?
It might combine the equipment. There might be some savings, but it would primarily on the equipment side. There's enough labor where you're not going to get a cheaper price for doing more labor right now.
I don't know. I mean, we're talking an extra $6,000. It's not a huge number. It would seem easier just to get them both knocked out. I don't know what everybody's thoughts are on it.
We've underspent on some other capital items, but then again, we talked about the heat tapes. We generally, if you're talking about that lower number year over year, we've always had some surplus at the end of the year.
Yeah.
I'm just going based on
Based on
historical
yeah.
feel.
Well, that's why I bring it up.
I think you can do it with very little risk that you're gonna run over budget overall.
We could do the lodge and see what our year looks like in August, and do the outliers. I want to find out if there's efficiencies on the equipment purchase. If there's not, then we can do one and then the other if we choose in the fall.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I'd certainly like to get the security cameras in place, and if we're gonna do it, we need to do it before the snow flies, obviously. So, you know, I'm in favor of going ahead and moving forward if everybody else is.
Yeah, splitting them up. Really, if we're gonna do it, let's just do it.
Yeah.
Rather than split them up.
Okay, good, thank you. Oversized vehicle parking. Let's see, we've got a parking policy that we put together that included a fee that we charge people for use of oversized parking spots. When we strike the lodge, I had them go out and strike 3 oversized spots in each of the 3 outlier locations. What I want to do is put up signs, charge, what is it, $10?
Yeah, I think it was
$10
10.
a day.
I think
for
so.
no more than 2 weeks. I sent that policy out and I wanted to get some guidance to move forward with that.
Obviously, that's been a problem historically with the oversized vehicles, and we need to solve for it. I'm certainly in favor of moving forward. You know, you've already striped the lots and everything, so we're really just functioning to get signage in place and get the permits.
Oh, yeah,
hangers,
getting
whatever they are.
hangers, it'll take 3 weeks to get things put together, but I'd like to get that started right away.
The other thing that's going, I've noticed it in Pinecone, every night there's people parking cars in those spots at the north end of Pinecone.
So we probably need to have a sign there to keep them doing it.
Yeah, I mean, somehow people need to know you don't park your car here.
Yeah.
This is a reserved spot.
Like Honeyville, they've got the big spots, but it's painted RV or large. You seen on the side of Honeyville?
Yeah.
Looks really good, no signs.
Yeah,
Just-
RV only or
Here's the sign we can put up.
People might still ignore it, but
Well, they're gonna get towed. I mean. Lettering by Elisa.
I made that.
nice.
Yeah.
I didn't make this.
So realistically, do you have a tow company lined up for that?
I'm going to.
You're going to.
I think we're gonna have, I mean, I may park mine there and tow it, just so they see it, you know. We have to enforce this.
Yeah, no, I
This
get it.
thing's no good if we don't enforce it.
Is that dumpster that's up in the one spot in Pinecone, is that Greg Petit?
I believe so. Gary, is that Greg's?
Yeah.
dumpster?
Is it
Yeah.
paying $10 a day?
No, we haven't approved the policy.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, and we've never
The other-
charged contractors while they're doing a
The
remodel.
other thing that with that, I'm digressing here, but people invariably, when they
No.
see an open dumpster, even though our dumpster is right there, oh, and then the birds get in it and trash ends up all over the parking lot.
Yeah.
I threw a dead turkey in the dumpster last week. It hit a window and
Baby
killed itself.
Oh, Gary knows about that.
Jim, you know, I know up at Purgatory, if they throw a car up there, they've got to write the tow company a check right then and there, or they won't tow it. I don't know if it would be under the same.
I'll figure it out. I mean, this is something we need to do.
Yeah.
So we just have to figure out the logistics of how do we get paid? You know, there's some things to figure out, but I think it's a policy we need to do.
Do we know if Heather is made aware of folks bringing those vehicles up in advance?
She says she doesn't know, and she tells them that we don't allow them, but they just do.
Yeah, people are coming up here with their motorcycles and their toys. So.
Yeah, Toy
And
trailers,
we're gonna have even
toy
more.
haulers.
Yeah,
trailers with-
there-
are fairly-
There was a trailer right here in the lodge parking lot last night when I left behind a pickup, and it had, I don't know, some sort of ATV on it.
ATVs, yeah.
And, you know, if people show up and front desk doesn't see it, it's a problem. Because they'll park it here, they may not know the policy, the front desk doesn't know that they've done it, and now all of a sudden they're taking up 2 or 3 parking spaces. It's gonna be hellacious this summer. If it's busier this year than it was last year, it's gonna be a problem.
But we're gonna have to accommodate. I mean, if these people are we have to be prepared to accommodate these people.
To the extent that we're able to.
Yeah.
We have a limited number of spaces. Yeah. That's why they should know about it and then reserve in advance.
Another thing I was asked to mention was, we know we have a lot of people coming up. We need to emphasize the dog policy for renters. Because there were a lot of renters that brought dogs last year.
It happens.
And that's another thing we don't always have.
Yeah. But the owners who are not using Heather, need to be aware that they could receive fines.
I'll ask Heather to get a reminder out. She knows everybody that's in the rental program. That's really the only thing we can do.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
It's an annual nightmare. There's nothing we can do about it.
Can I ask a question on that? Have we ever, with pet, with people bringing pets, and obviously if they're not telling us up front, but do we charge, maybe I just don't know, do we charge for pets? Like what if,
But the renters have the option, well, no, renters can't have any pets, so no.
so did we ever look at that?
Of charging for it? Well, we don't allow renters to have pets. So
But
there's
if
no-
we did allow renters to have pets, then we charged for it.
It's been discussed many, many times. It's always got shut down.
I don't, it's a touchy subject because more and more people travel with their pets.
Well, and that's exactly what it is. And this is such a dog-friendly town.
And we had just this week, there's somebody staying over in Pinecone. It's a friend of the owner. He has a dog. We found out he has a dog. He hasn't cleaned up any of the messes in the front yard.
Who is that?
I'm sorry?
What unit is that?
We'll talk later.
I think I know.
Yeah. And so I wound up calling the owner, and the owner was not aware that he had a dog. He's staying in the unit for like a month. She didn't know he had a dog. You allow renters to come with their pets, you're gonna have dog poop all over the property. That's the problem. Even if you're charging for it, that's the one problem. Or one of the problems.
We have our own owners.
I see it every day, almost every day I see a file somewhere.
I suspect at some point we're going to have to address it with the rental program. And I don't know there's not really a win-win in it. I've got 2 beach houses and I just replaced the whole floor because I allow pets in it. And now I'm debating not allowing pets anymore just because people don't take care of the 3 units. Okay, you got anything else, Tim?
Yeah, I got a couple other things. I had a company come from South Dakota to camera our stacks, the plumbing stacks in the lodge. This building is not a candidate for doing the epoxy coating just because of the configuration and the offset of the pipe themselves. I had an engineer come out and look at it. Well, I went to a project in Denver where a company was replacing all of the piping, supply lines, chiller lines, and waste line. And they did this 40-story building, residential tower, without relocating anybody. So I'm in communications with them about the feasibility of doing something here and trying to come up with some budget numbers. But we're still working on what the right solution is.
Okay. Is that proposal you sent out to me yesterday?
There were a couple of things I wanted to highlight. We do have a lot of stuff going on in our grounds, plants, trees. We're building the stairs up here starting in a couple of weeks to the north, to the north piece of property above the lodge.
Landscaping, that we're to a point where we're going to meet the glacier requirements from 4 years ago.
Which requirement for that?
Well, we had agreed to do all the beds and all of that. I know I've seen pictures of the
We've
trees.
been buying plants every week. A little understaffed, so we're doing, it's going to be an ongoing project for the irrigation system and
That irrigation contractor you hired seems to know what he's doing.
oh, they're the best in town.
Yeah.
It's tough to get on their schedule.
I had a chat with him yesterday, and he told me he figured out why my area in particular, the pressure wasn't what it should be. And he took care of that because there was duplicate circuits running at the same time.
Yeah,
Drawing
that's
down
where,
the pressure. And this morning when I went out and looked, and he told me the ones out in front of my place run about 3 o'clock, 3:30 in the morning. And I went out this morning and looked, and it looked to me like the coverage is now there. So already
And we have that.
I see a benefit.
yeah, we have that project to do many, many times throughout the property. Our guys are able to do that work, but we're very busy, so we're outsourcing it as many days as we can get from San Juan Waterworks. We're having them out here.
Now, the center island in Pine Cone, it was dry this morning, so I don't know if it was supposed to run last night or if there's still an issue
Yeah,
there.
they may not have tackled that one. They were staying closer down to the south, I think. That's all I got.
Okay. Any questions about property report? Nothing online?
Somebody did ask about if we bring our RV to my unit for one night to transfer stuff, our owner's going to be charged. The answer is no. We've always given owners 24 to 48 hours to load and unload when they have something like that. I would say if you've got a 42-foot mobile home, no, put it in one of the oversized spaces for that period of time. Because you put one of those things in front of the building, and it's a big pain in the butt. And we get phone calls, especially at the south end of Pine Cone, north end of Gamble Oak, south end of Gamble Oak. We don't care about High Point. And obviously nobody here in the lodge.
Take care of it ourselves.
We gotta.
You know,
Rick, you got Frontier Justice up there?
Yeah. So it's our little world of there.
you know, one question that comes up about the parking is someone like Bob Dean comes and I don't know if he still does it, but he'll have that trailer and, you know, his
He has
ATVs.
to come 1 week out of the year.
But Bob has come here and he's had a trailer up there all summer. In the past, he's done that.
Not since I've been here.
Okay.
Yeah, his son-in-law
Okay.
is a roper.
If they're here for a week, or if we're going to limit it to 2 weeks, that's one thing. If somebody plans to bring their toys up and they're going to be here for 6 weeks or 2 months, that's going to be a problem.
What if they had special permission?
From,
I mean, maybe they give us something in writing. I mean, if there's nobody else that's gonna be in the space and they're asking for permission and we are still charging them, why would it be any different?
makes
I
no
mean,
difference.
I get, we have, I mean, we've got the rules in place, but I do think that there could be special circumstances that could be considered.
Okay. I mean, we'll always take that into account if that comes up.
Yeah, so I mean, if that occurred, I mean, I don't. I'm giving special consideration.
People aren't allowed to live in their, stay in their RV and park it up there and then stay in the RV, are they?
I think we've had a couple of circumstances with it, but no, that's not something
Yeah.
that we would necessarily condone. But I know we've had folks that have visitors that have come through it, that people stay in it. At least it's been reported. Jared, didn't you say we had somebody do that last year?
Yeah.
That's Stephen Farby doing.
Yeah, and there was a owner a few years ago, he's since sold, who had that Mercedes big thing down in Gamble Oak, and I found out, yeah, they were oddly living in that.
That was there for quite a while.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't remember everybody living in it, but that was there.
yeah, yeah. No, they were actually staying in that. I don't know if they were doing something up in the unit or what, but yeah, we found out that they were staying in that. But he's no longer here. There was somebody last year. There was a couple, I think, who were in the parking lot here in the lodge who stayed here for 2 weeks, I think. Just living in the station wagon. with everything else that was going on last year, I don't think that ever got pursued.
One item that maybe goes hand in hand with the property report. We would like to see what you all think about us putting in an ATM in the front lobby. There's a company that's willing to do it. We make 50 cents on every transaction. We don't have to touch it. No contract.
It's been talked about before. The things that I remember that were an issue were internet connectivity. I don't think those things are wireless. You have to have a phone line or an Ethernet line to plug it in, and the power, and where you would. I think the internet line was the thing that quashed it last time.
So
It would take too much infrastructure to get that there,
spot-
depending on where you want to put it.
Yeah, the spot we picked is right near the desk at the, in the little lobby area where the computer used to be. So there is an internet port. The company was here, Tim walked with them.
Do we have many people asking about an ATM?
A few.
I mean,
Sorry,
don't have an issue with it,
I don't know if it
I just don't
will make a ton of money, and we told them that.
I asked him, and he said every location is its own world. You cannot project what.
Does it cost us anything?
It doesn't cost us anything.
So they come, it's like the washing machines, they come, they bring them in, people use them, and we get a little benefit from it.
Yep.
Does it add any security risk?
If it's by the front desk, I would think not.
Well, it's gonna be on the back wall of that lobby area, where the coffee desk used.
Do you have the picture?
Going right next to that.
Yeah, but
There's
it's
a
just
wireless
the,
port we can wire to for internet.
So that's right there in view, that's right there in view of the front desk.
And security, somebody'd have to drive through the block wall. To put a chain on and drag it out. I mean, the guy and I talked.
Yeah, they're
about
bolted to
security
the
risk.
floor, aren't
That's
they?
what it
They'll
looks
be
like.
bolted to the floor. No, the guy said that this was a safe location.
Who are you dealing with?
A lot of Grand Junction. He's got probably 20 machines around the four corners.
It's not very popular anymore because nobody carries much cash.
Well, that's why, one of the reasons
And
why I
it's
asked how
like,
many people use.
it used to be a big bit, and now banks, they don't even carry the cash hardly. So it's just kind of become a business where it was popular at once. Everybody carries cards.
Right.
I guess the only thing I would say then, based on what Boyd just said, is if if the guy brings it here and it doesn't do much business, and then he says, I'm pulling out, what scars are we leaving when he takes it away? That's the only thing I would worry about there.
Yeah, and the other thing, I wouldn't want signage.
No.
The last thing I'd want to see is signage outside.
No, just
where people
leave it
know
there,
there's an
yeah.
ATM in the building. I mean,
If somebody asks about it,
Right.
yep, there it is.
I mean, what's the closest one is what? Needles?
Dalton Ranch has one.
Dalton?
Well,
There's
for
that
most
big-
of Crew.
And there's the big one, Bank of Colorado, that's right outside of PG.
One of Purgatory.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have an issue with it. I can certainly try it out if that's something we want to do. If there's- I question the need, I guess, more than anything else. If it's not something that people ask for, I don't know why we'd even.
Every once in a while they do.
10 a month,
No,
less than.
two or three.
2 or 3.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, send them
and those
to
people
PJs.
are just actually, yeah.
Go down to PJ. It's not like anything here they need to spend cash on, and you can take a credit card if they want to buy anything else. The restaurant takes credit cards, they want to buy merchandise, they can use credit card, right?
Mhm.
A lot of places during the pandemic, I mean, things, baseball stadium down in Arizona, no cash. So far this season, no cash. Everything's card.
We'll need to consider how we're gonna get paid on their oversized parking. We still have to figure out, because we want to collect that money that can't be billed to the owner. If it's a rental situation.
Can Heather help with that? Charge it to
She won't.
She wants to be totally out
Yeah,
of. you
yeah,
know.
we have some options. We have the Square Reader that we use for like the golf tournament and the Square account that we use to charge the admin fees. So we would have to allow the girls at the front desk to have access to this Square Reader. And I don't think that'll be a problem.
We don't collect anything other than admin fees. The only thing we collect.
Right, so this money that from the trailer, if we collect from the trailer, it'll go into our admin account. So I'd need to transfer it back, out of there or be able to account for it. It's just another thing for these girls to take care of, but I think it's doable. We figured out a way to do reservations ahead. We've got some space in Bookerville where we can say parking spot A, B, C, and we can block it out so we know.
I didn't know
If
if that
someone
payment
calls.
method was gonna be easier than having an ATM on the other side of the room. So you
And having them
pay
get cash.
I'd rather not have cash.
Yeah,
Exchange
that-
at the front desk, that just opens up can of worms.
Yeah.
And that's unnecessary.
You still keep quarters up there?
We have
for the laundry
quarters and
machine? Yeah.
some, and ones and things for change.
Then will you be giving them like a mirror hanger or something like that?
Okay, no ATM?
I'd say no to the ATM.
Okay.
Doesn't sound like there's enough of a need to bother with
Yeah.
it.
And there's really nothing here to spend cash on, other than the laundry, and now you've got an app to go, so.
Yeah, the laundry, yeah.
I'm just muted.
There's
Okay.
that store has, the credit card in there, so.
Did you check the camera?
Okay. Really, the last thing on the agenda, I think, is to talk about the election. I put restaurant report on here just in case Brooke wanted to come in and say something, but I talked to him last night. He said he's still looking for help, obviously. Anybody, those folks looking for a job, there's certainly opportunities in the restaurant.
How's business?
He said it's going okay. It's not as good as he'd like. He's looking at some other options. He's mentioned maybe doing a food truck in town also, but he's just coming through the shoulder season. He's expecting the summer to pick up. I'm sure Gary's still his best customer.
Cody.
Cody.
Yeah.
But yeah, all in, I think, he's doing okay. I think the general stores helped out, I'm sure.
General Store has helped out and opening up the back deck. Now that that is open and with golf season here, he'll get quite a few people staying out there. So
Yeah, let's face it, this wasn't exactly a true test of a restaurant with COVID going on and limitations for that and the ski season. The summer will really be the true test. And he didn't open until what, first week of January, second week of January?
couldn't have picked a worse time to open a restaurant. I don't know that there's ever been a worse time.
That's been the case with others too.
Well, even
In that location.
Yeah, I'm just in town this week. Carter's wasn't even open on Wednesday, so they're still trying to reopen.
They're still not open on Sunday mornings.
Oh, they're not
For-
open. They're
for
not open
breakfast. They're not going to open for breakfast again?
He said he doesn't see that happening anytime
It was always,
Such a good breakfast.
I know.
soon. I talked to the owner the other night when
We go there on Sunday morning, you had to wait. They were packed.
they can't get staff.
Is that it?
They literally cannot get staff.
That's it.
It's costing them, he said to get anybody off their ass, they have to pay $16 to $19 an hour just to get people.
For restaurant staff?
Yeah.
Tip earning restaurant staff.
Tip earning restaurants, they're paying $9 to $10 an hour just for people that are making tips. And that used to be what, $3 an hour?
That $300 extra on unemployment's killing them.
Yeah, but and it's,
That's what's happened up at Purgatory. All these people, they don't want to work. They made more.
well,
money.
it's not just that. It's also a function of people being able to afford to live here.
Yeah,
Making those
that's
wages.
true.
Yeah.
Tim,
So people
that's
can't- you
the
couldn't get-
reason,
Right.
I didn't mention it, but that's the reason why we leased that unit to sublet it to an employee. The guy Tim was hiring said, I can't work for you because I can't find a place for less than 1,500 a month.
That's a big part of the problem. I talked to my realtor Wednesday, I guess, or Thursday. I talked to her, and she said that the prices are insane. They're bidding, well above ask. They're putting contingencies in the contract where the down payment needs to adjust because they're paying, they're bidding more than ask, more than it appraises at. They're going to have to come up with bigger down payment. It's just insanity right now. I mean, it's a seller's market. Anybody buying right now is crazy, in my opinion.
Unless you're doing a turnover.
Yeah.
I mean, well, owner up in High Point paid, for an ASIB, paid over 700 and sold hers for $595.
It was listed at 585.
$585, and she got a little more than that, I think, right? Yeah. So, I mean, that was, there's a $100K difference there.
No, I saw an offer come through last week in Denver. It was a $585,000 property, and they offered $100,000 more.
100K more.
100K more than ask. It didn't even appraise the house.
Yeah, Channel 31's been doing a series on real estate, and for the state, it's averages 2% over ask in 4 days on market. And there's kind of south and west side of Denver, you can expect 5 to 7% over ask.
That 422 just went in 9 days. And the only reason it went in 9 days and not earlier is because they were having a bidding war on it. So the owners were waiting it out. And it went in the 140s someplace. That's crazy.
What unit?
422?
Does it have a loft?
No, it's just a studio.
Straight studio, and it went for how much?
And she wasn't sure it was listed at 134, but then there was bidding on it, so she didn't have visibility on that, so it went into 140 someplace.
There was an IB in High Point, was listed for 210, was only on the market a couple days. 607.
Yeah, we sold ours back in March. I mean, it needed upgrading. A lot of the stuff in there was a little tired. We listed it for 135 and got 142.
Well, that's, and, to the point, that's why they're having a hard time getting staff up here and elsewhere. So it's just, really the problem is probably going to be another year before that settles out. Construction costs are out of control.
Look at the price of lumber.
Yeah.
Did you see that article in the Durango Herald? Did anybody see that?
Yeah.
They're talking about a sheet of CDX. OSB, not CDX. Sheet of OSB, decking and walls stuff. A year ago, it was $11 a sheet. Now it's $59.
Yeah, building costs are up 37% from last year to build a new house. That's according to the National Association of Builders.
They quoted a builder here in town. And he said that right now to build it's $350 a square foot.
Okay.
Can we point out our fabulous table of merchandise that we've put together?
Yeah.
Gary has the website up. We
Um,
have a new option for a hat.
wait a minute, let me,
Wait.
whoa, wait a minute. We're gonna do that. And I don't know, can I do this? Yeah. Okay.
That hat's gonna have the,
There you go.
Yeah.
there it is. Look at that, Brian. That's what you get with that hat.
I like that.
It's a vintage patch.
Great idea.
Gary and Elise, or one of the two of them, found them somewhere in the bowels of this building. How many did you find? 150?
About 150 of them.
Yeah.
And we were gonna
So
order.
limited production.
We're going to order about 50 of the hats, and there's a guy downtown that I found who will sew the patches on, and I think it might be kind of cool.
I already put reserved mine.
The brim, it's called a wave design, the wave.
I like it.
It's right there.
Yeah, and the orange that's on the hat actually matches the orange on the patch much better than it looks like in the photograph, so. Anyway,
When are those gonna be available?
I like that look.
as soon as I get in touch with the guy, I talked with him a couple of weeks ago. I'd like to get one of them made up as a sample and have that before we order the 50 hats.
Didn't I already see one?
We glued it on.
And it came with a logo underneath it, so we just got one without.
We just got a hat without a logo.
You could have pinned it on
Yeah.
Anyway, and then we still have a lot. Oh,
there. So you can get any of those designs right there with the logo on them?
yeah.
Those,
Blue one on the end.
that's what, yeah, he's got a nice jacket there.
Oh, yeah.
Those come through Ann.
And that's the one on the right up there?
Yeah.
$52? Eddie Bauer. huh?
Very comfortable.
Huh.
And we've got do we have any more of those? I think we've got a few.
Are there color
Jackets,
options on
there's
those
some-
or no?
I think you can
Yes.
probably get whatever you want, and we can put the logo on. You can even give me that shirt, and we can take it down to
Really?
the vendor that Ann found to
In town?
embroider, yeah.
And he's got it set up and he'll do onesie twosies like that?
That's what she
Yeah,
said.
it's got it all worked out, so.
The green one on the
Greg's
left
company.
is what I wore yesterday.
Yeah, so some of these things on the pictures, we still have some. And there's a few in the restaurant hanging up too.
And we still have a lot of tableware for those people who want to get a little piece of Tamron history.
So we've sold $692 worth of logo items so far. according to
Well, the
We haven't
expense,
even
the
got
expense
to-
goes in a different, in a different category. I think it goes into advertising or marketing.
And for those who haven't done it yet, this is all on a web page of the taco site. Just click on merchandise.
Then will all this stuff be sold at the restaurant?
You can buy it at Base Camp or just through me.
Yeah, any of it can be custom ordered, so. Okay, Greg just stepped out, but I think the last item on the agenda is talk about the election. So we have, fresh memory, two of us are stepping down, right? Eric and I have to step down, right?
Your term is up, but you can run.
Yeah.
But you can run again.
Yeah, so we'll have 3 seats available for vote. Those election reminders, anybody is encouraged, or anybody, obviously, any owner is encouraged to submit their information if they're interested. They submit a resume. We'll send out reminders roughly early June, I think is when we normally send them out for anybody that's interested in running for the board. Eric Tibbetts and I are termed out, so we have to step down. And then Boyd is up for reelection, so, or I assume he's going to be up for reelection. Got to submit everything and go through that exercise again. So any questions about that? Anybody online?
What about the annual, the election is at the annual meeting. What about the annual meeting activities? Are we going back to a full slate of activities, limited?
I would presume that we are.
Certain.
I mean, I'm hoping, I'm assuming that the September meeting will be,
You're gonna need a coordinator for all the social activities. I will run the golf tournament one more time.
okay?
At least.
Yeah, I'm assuming it'll be back to normal, hopefully.
Let's hope so.
It's after the All-Star game, so.
Yeah. All right, any new business? Anybody have anything they want to bring up for new business? I have one question, one item. I'm not here all the time, so it might just be an anomaly, but the, where we have all the packages come in, do we have any alternatives for that?
That was the alternative.
I know. I just, when I came in the other day, I was just like, wow, this is a mess. And, I was just going to try to find one package that I shipped to myself that was supposed to arrive yesterday.
Yes.
And there are some, there's like some people that have like 8 or 10 packages sitting there.
Let me ask a question. So these delivery companies, right? I mean, if I order a package, if I get a package, it's dropped at my door in Pinecone.
Depends on the driver.
So, I mean, should not that be delivered to the address, which is the unit, and dropped at the door? Shouldn't it?
Third floor of the lodge, you can drop the unit.
I mean, are you telling me that, I mean, like condominiums and, well, we are a condominium. I mean,
Technically, they're not supposed to.
they're not supposed to take it to the door?
Single-family entrance.
Okay, that's right,
not
you were in that
visible from the
business.
street, out of the weather.
Okay, so it's,
So, yeah, up there, by the guidelines, it's not a good delivery.
okay, so they're only obligated to bring it into the building. And
What they should be, I mean, technically what they're supposed to do is knock and leave delivery notice.
We have a lot of owners who are ordering ahead of their visit. And a lot of people shopping online still.
And maybe that's.
So it
all
comes and
is.
goes,
Yeah.
and those delivery drivers kind of just toss it in there.
Do they
we do-
rotate out pretty quickly now? I mean, obviously.
Yeah, it hasn't been bad.
I'm being
We
judgmental
try to
because I
keep-
walked in and looked at one day,
Yeah,
so.
yeah. We try to keep it tidy. We try to write the unit numbers real
Yeah.
big, so it's easy to see back there. It doesn't always get done,
Do we
every
notify
day.
the owners when they have packages down there?
but only if it's someone who we know doesn't know it's going to be there.
you would think if somebody ordered something, they're
Yeah.
going and looking.
Yeah,
Well, I agree.
if it looks like a gift, or something perishable.
I mean, I don't know, have you had any, I mean, down in Phoenix, I get videos on my Ring account all the time of people catching porch pirates. There hasn't been any of that here, right?
But I
I
know.
mean, somebody could walk up and say, I'd like to look at that package.
We can't see it from the front desk, but I think that people kind of are, because it's so close, I think that would discourage it.
And I do think what you're seeing right now is an anomaly for this time of year. Christmas time, it's just mayhem.
Yeah.
But
Well, it looked worse when I came in Wednesday or Thursday than it did at Christmas. The only reason it raised a flag at me, I was like, wow, that's a total of the boxes for middle of May.
and there are some owners who do get several packages and then don't come down and pick them up for quite a while. And when that happens, I think the front desk will call, or sometimes, somebody will mention it to me and I'll call an owner. But because we've had problems in the past where we had a policy where we, as a courtesy, we would call an owner, and then one owner didn't get called and raised a huge stink about it. We just decided, okay, you're responsible for your packages, period. We're not gonna have the front desk staff take, half an hour to call, 20 different owners who have packages here, and then have them get blasted by one owner who doesn't come down to look for his or her package. $1 million.
I mean, I don't.
I'm gonna get that sooner or
I
later.
mean, if something sits there, you can give it back to the carrier and the carrier will take it back because, they'd much rather do that than us say we're not accepting it.
Yeah, and the post office, the two carriers for the post office actually write the dates on the packages. But you're really pushing the gray line there, whether you can send it back to the post office or not, because then the owner shows up the next day and where's my package?
But if it's delivered to the mailboxes out here and it's locked up and that guy sees it for 2 weeks, asked him about that and he says, I
And that
can
happened
send
to
it back
you.
to return to sender.
Yeah, that happened to me. 'Cause I didn't
So it'd be no
even-
different.
Didn't even know I
if-
had a mailbox.
It'd be no different if it was over there.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just thought, I mean, I don't know, maybe more shelves. The problem is, some of those boxes are huge, right? So you can't So
Yeah.
it's not that big a deal. I'm just more curious. I don't know.
Sometimes it takes me 20 minutes to find my package down there.
And we can organize them, we'll put them in piles for, this is unit 2 something, and then someone comes looking for their packages and moves them to look at the names, so that it's all messed up again.
Just got an email from Wells Fargo. My HOA payment was returned.
And I've received 2 emails from owners who said the same thing. So if you use Wells Fargo, it must not have gotten forwarded for some reason.
I just paid my dues.
I'm shocked you carry a check.
Yeah. What is this?
Yeah, what are you doing?
I happen to have it in my,
You're aging yourself.
hey, I don't use very many.
Okay, so what you're telling me, I don't use Wells, but I probably need.
It may have gotten returned by now, if that's the case.
I believe that this is Dan Noonan asked about ordering UPS and FedEx. And everybody should know UPS and FedEx do not have access to mailboxes or the parcel lockers. They are, for the most part, leaving packages at the front desk in that area where we have them all. And depending upon the driver, they may leave them at your front door. But they don't have access to mailboxes or the parcel lockers. That's strictly the Postal Service.
All right, any other discussion points, new business? If not, well, we don't have anything else to cover. We can adjourn the meeting and move to executive session.
Well, you're not aware of me.
Yeah, we.
Well,
we
we're not
just-
formally
yeah,
adjourning this
yeah.
for now and go to executive session. We'll come back and formally adjourn later. So
Jerry Q2 needs to be in.
Yeah,
the
Jerry.
water
We need to
team.
tell Ken.
Ken,
Ken Golden wanted to know when that was.
I texted him and told him I'd let him know.
okay. Yeah, I'll email Jerry.
Yeah, give Jerry the login.
Okay, well, thanks everyone for joining online. We're gonna refire, we gonna fire it back up or just?
No, it's on, it's already on. The meeting is already on. Oh, you mean afterwards?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you have to, don't
You
you?
have to, if you're gonna, especially.
Right, yeah.
You have to
You're gonna
adjourn the
disconnect
meeting.
now and then we'll restart it.
I'm going to stop recording. I'm going to mute everything on this meeting. And this meeting is going to become active, or is active now, I guess.
And if you're gonna entertain a vote on any decision that was discussed.
Yeah,
In the executive session, you gotta come back. and
Yeah,
do that.
I get it.
Okay, I'm going to stop recording now.
Okay, we are done with executive session. We are starting the board meeting again. It is 11:25 Mountain Time. We have nothing to vote on from executive session, so I'm going to entertain motions to adjourn.
So move.
Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. And I've got Ron and Eric's proxy. They wish to adjourn as well. So call this meeting to a close. It's still 11:25 Mountain. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Greg, when you go back, did you drive?
I did.